Hello, friends. The last time in our geopolitics and geostrategic series, we were dealing with Iran and the possible pullout of US from Afghanistan and their repercussions. Whilst we're on this subject, and we wanted to address some other key issues around in the same region, we think that the recent high voltage developments that's happening in with Israel and Palestinian conflict needs our immediate attention. And to that effect, I have once again our guest, Wing Commander BJP Rao, to share with us some of his thoughts and analysis. So, welcome to you, sir. Could you please share with us what you see of the situation, minus the emotions in that whole events that are unfolding there? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mohan. Nice to be back with you. And as you're aware, almost for the last 4 or 5 days, hostilities are happening between the Israeli Defense Forces and the authority which presently has a political power in the Gaza Strip, that is the Hamas. And as is known, Hamas is a front for Iran. So this is yet another proxy war Iran is fighting in West Asia. The other one being in Yemen. The Houthis, they also have Iranian support. And of course, in Lebanon, we have the long-standing Hezbollah. So Hezbollah there in Lebanon, Houthis in Yemen, and here we have Hamas.
So, the one in the crosshairs is actually Iran.
So, following some skirmish in Jerusalem on last Friday prayers and after that the congregation, the Arabs in East Jerusalem alleged that the Israeli police forces had handled them roughly. That was followed by some demonstrations the next day and all that. And within a day or two, Hamas took this as an opportunity. Rather, they appeared as though they were waiting for a spark. And they launched hundreds of rockets from the Gaza Strip aimed at population centers in Israel. Now, these rockets are known as Qassam rockets. And so far, it is believed that almost about 2,300 rockets have been fired into Israeli population centers. So what happens is that surely the population of Israel is looking at the government to stop these attacks, and how they plan to do it is by exercising their pretty modern air defense network known as the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome, which is much in the news, is being highly appreciated as a foolproof system to safeguard Israeli cities. While in effect it's about 10 years old, and it's not exactly a foolproof system. And the more modern ones are the Patriot missile systems of the US as well as the S-400s, which India also is acquiring from the Russians.
And then there's the S-500s that the Russians have kept exclusively for themselves.
This conflict should not be seen as a localized Hamas versus Israel, because it is actually a proxy war which is already in motion between Iran and Israel. Just to give you a brief, you must be aware of the war in Yemen, where the rebel fighters, the Houthis, have active backing from the Iranian armed forces, number one. Number two, you must also have heard of the frequent disturbances in Lebanon caused by Hezbollah. Hezbollah also is an Iranian-backed militia. And latest, you have militias in Iraq, because Iraq is a Shia majority nation, though ruled by Sunnis for a long time. Even there, they have got a militia, which is backed by Iran. It's known as the PMF in that place. Okay, so this is Hamas is again an Iranian thing. And just to refresh your memory, on 3rd January 2020, last year, we had that famous assassination of Major General Soleimani, who was a very important figure. He's bandied about as the second most important figure after the Grand Ayatollah. And he belongs to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And he's supposed to be a brain behind all these, extraterritorial militias fighting outside Iran against the Israelis. Okay, so his assassination was also actually it was done by an American drone, by the way. But as you're aware, in that part of the world, America and Israel are together. So Israeli intelligence and American hardware perhaps did the job, and it is very effective. Other than Soleimani, there were 9 other casualties, 5 Iraqis and 4 Iranians. And actually, Soleimani was on his way to meet the Prime Minister of Iraq. And this happened at Baghdad airport at 1 a.m. in the night. Okay. So that aside, as you're aware, the Iran nuclear deal, which was entered into in 2015, and subsequently the Trump administration arbitrarily pulled out of that. And Iran retaliated by increasing the stockpiles of enriched uranium and also increasing the degree of concentration. So this has been an outright provocation from Iran aimed at the US. And the one country which takes Iran as its existential threat is Israel. With Saddam gone, with Gaddafi gone, with Syria in ruins, and also importantly, the other important countries like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Bahrain. Now, recently, these 3 countries also have aligned with the American-Israeli camp. Now, this may be surprising, but the reason is that the threat they perceive from Iran is more than what they perceive from Israel. So this linking up of these 3 countries with the American-Israeli camp is basically to safeguard themselves against a possible Iranian attack. Right? And what is specifically worrying the Israelis is the Iranian nuclear program, and because their launchers already have the capability for a ballistic attack on Israeli targets from Iran. And all they're waiting for is a nuclear device. And they are inching closer to it by the day. And Israel is very worked up on the issue. Okay? And they seem to be in search of some kind of a trigger where they could justify a preemptive strike on the Iranian nuclear bomb project. Okay? And how exactly Iran will plan to retaliate is something which is to be seen. So an Israeli occupation of Gaza could trigger an Iranian reaction, and it could be that Israel is just waiting for such a reaction to be wanting to unleash a preemptive strike on the Iranian nuclear bomb project. And I must also remind you that Iran has very clearly stated that in the event of any such strikes by Israel on us, they would target the Saudi oil installations across the Persian Gulf. As you're aware, the eastern shore of the Persian Gulf is with Iran, and the western shore is with Saudi Arabia. And you have the other countries of Kuwait in the north, and then Qatar and Bahrain also along with Saudi. And these are the kingdoms, and of course, south of that is the UAE, the Arab Emirates. So Iran has made it very clear that any such attack will invite a retaliation, and they will strike at Saudi oil facilities in the Persian Gulf. Now, this is actually a very dangerous escalation if it happens, in that it sends the whole world economy on a toss, and you have one more oil shock like we had earlier. And many smaller economies could go belly up. This will be a very grave provocation, which could invite even the Americans to retaliate against this. And that could in turn get in the Chinese or the Russians, more likely the Russians, because they have a presence in Syria already. And the whole thing could just spiral out of control.
And in all of this, what role do you see Turkey playing, the Republic of Turkey?
The other power in the region is Turkey, which for a long time has been in competition with Iran and Saudi Arabia. They form the trio, who are all trying to gain support in the Muslim world. Anyway, Turkey should not be in a position to enter this whole conflict for the simple reason that it's a member of NATO, and which is under America, USA. So Turkey may make some noises, but is unlikely to enter into this conflict because of that reason. And as I hope things don't spiral out of control, otherwise this could be the trigger to start, which may start the Third World War. the consequences are global. Should the Iranians attack Saudi oil facilities, and there will surely be Israeli and American retaliation for that. So let's hope better sense prevails, and this conflict quickly comes to a peaceful end.
So that's an awesome perspective, Wing Commander. So it means that this current conflict, actually, we will have to watch carefully Iran, and should they make a mistake or Israel finds the excuse, there could be an escalation, and that could then leave. We will have to then see how Russia and China, how they behave, and the escalations can actually lead to another world war. So yes, the stakes are pretty high, and thank you again very much for giving us your insights, and we look forward to having more such discussions with you. Thanks. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mohan. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to such small discussions, based on the current events, so that our viewers are better informed of the ground realities in those places. Thank you once again very much. Thank you.